Hello and welcome. I am Digital T, and here we are going over what happens in Devil May Cry 3 Code 1 and Code 2. This story takes place before Devil May Cry 3, the video game, which is chronologically the first story. Real quick, the game's timeline starts with 3, 1, 2, 4, and then where we are currently with 5. It is also worth noting that 2 Devil May Cry 3 mangas were released, but there was supposed to be a third and it never was released. Now that we have some background, let's get into Devil May Cry 3 Code 1 and Code 2. At the beginning of Code 1, it is explained that the demon world and human world used to be one, but they were separated into the two worlds and have coexisted for a long time. The king of the world of darkness, or the underworld, wanted to reunite the dark world with the light, aka human world, as it used to be one world. Here it shared that the king of the world of darkness knows that humans are weak and have no chance against the powers of demons from the world of darkness. This king of the underworld was Mundus. As Mundus was working to devour the human world by merging the two, it is stated, he appeared. This he is Sparta. Sparta was an inhabitant of the demon world and was a prideful soul. He did not hold a grudge against his own kind, which were demons. But Sparta held his sword for the human world and against the demon world. Sparta would defeat the king of the underworld, and without a king of the underworld, darkness loses its power. Sparta feared the return of darkness and sealed the underworld along with the people who took sides with it. Humans worshipped Sparta as a hero who saved the human world and started calling him Sparta, the legendary Dark Knight. One day, Sparta secretly disappeared, and the people eventually forgot about his existence. Eventually, his story would become a fairy tale in history. We then see Dante, one of Sparta's sons, who is half demon and half human. To give a brief overview on Dante, with him being a son of the powerful Sparta, he has incredible power even among the demons. Also, his mother was killed by demons, and Dante believes his twin brother Vergil to have been killed by demons when they were kids, leaving Dante to be alone growing up. Here we see Dante in his studio that he uses for his business. His broker, Enzo, enters the studio with a huge job to offer Dante. Being how Dante is, he believes it is a boring job and wants Enzo to leave. Dante ignores Enzo and leaves him to go get more tomato juice because that's a priority, obviously. As he returns from the store, he goes to meet with Enzo and finds demons attacking him. Dante makes quick work of them using his signature pistols, Ebony and Ivory, and is able to save Enzo. The two are then talking about the job Enzo wants Dante to do and shares that it is $4 million. Dante sees that the job is to rescue a girl and tells Enzo he won't do it. The two bicker back and forth for a little bit, and finally Dante agrees to do it. Next, we see Vergil, Dante's twin brother, alive, and with Arkham, a human that is working with Vergil. We will go over his backstory in a bit. Vergil and Arkham are in a library reading about the legend of Sparta. Arkham shares a quote, detesting himself and fearing that the power he has will one day cause more destruction. He seals off the demon world and his weapons, in particular his sword, with it. These three weapons are the Yamato, which Vergil wields, the Rebellion, which Dante wields, and the Sword of Sparta, which we will find out more in this story. After Arkham shares this story, Vergil states that he isn't looking for that story. A lady that appears to be a librarian provides a book to Vergil saying, quote, a demon who impregnates a human who then bears twin sons. That's the story, isn't it? End quote. When provided this book, Vergil cuts her into pieces with one swing of the Yamato and tells Arkham to leave. Arkham grows interested in what Vergil is looking to uncover and asks Vergil to share with him what he knows about Sparta. We then go back to Dante, who is accompanied by Enzo while they work the job mentioned earlier. The two get to a gate to which Dante states that he doesn't need a babysitter and enters the building. Shortly after, Dante finds a girl who reveals herself to be a demon and attacks Dante. After defeating the demon, Dante sees a picture of a mother and a daughter. The daughter is a character we meet later in the game who we know as Lady. This leaves reason to believe that this building was the home of Arkham, who is later revealed to be the father of Lady. More on that later. The next scene we see Vergil wandering the streets and he is met with some thugs who want him to leave. Vergil greets them with a swipe of the Yamato and is stopped by Enzo. Since Vergil and Dante are twins, Enzo confuses Vergil with Dante since Dante was just doing a job with him. Vergil throws the Yamato near Enzo to scare him, but this confirms to Vergil that Dante is somewhere close since Enzo knows of Dante. Dante continues to investigate the rest of the building and is met with a horde of demons. After clearing through them, he meets a humanoid demon that has the face of a bunny, or a rabbit. Dante shoots at it, but is stopped by the demonic girl. The girl says that she won't leave unless the rabbit can come as well. Dante tries to tell her that the rabbit is a demon, and the girl doesn't want to listen. Before Dante can figure out how to handle the situation, he finds himself in a pitch black area with a Mad Hatter and the rabbit, where they are having a tea party. The Mad Hatter and the rabbit talk about Dante and know of his origins, with Dante being a child of Sparta. They believe that the mother and brother were killed just like Dante does. Dante gets frustrated that they are ignoring him and tells the rabbit that he is looking to take the girl. The Mad Hatter and the rabbit talk to each other, stating that Dante is no good, he won't listen to us, let's go to him instead. This confuses Dante to where the Mad Hatter explains, same face just like yours, meaning they are talking about Vergil. It is also foreshadowed that the rabbit and the Mad Hatter know what Vergil is looking to do, as they discuss if Vergil has found the key yet, to which they agree that he has not. They also tell Dante that Vergil is in the same town, and the Mad Hatter can arrange for them to meet. Dante declines his invite and shoots his way out of the illusion. He finds out that a demonic version of the Cheshire Cat was what made the whole room black. Once defeated, it sends a volley of spikes at Dante, to which the rabbit gets between the spikes and Dante to save him. The rabbit states that Dante's job is over and that he was the one that provided the job to Enzo. Dante is left confused and hears more from the rabbit. The rabbit states he wanted to take a look at Sparta's descendant and shares information about Vergil's goal. Quote, however, humans become fascinated with demons and did not die out. They began to seek for demons, yearning for their power. As a result, they build a great tower. The tower connects the demon world with the human world. In order to become a demon, those fascinated climb the tower. End quote. Dante is then caught off guard by the demonic girl, and she bites into him. This leads to Dante tapping into a power that he has never used before, his devil trigger. It saves Dante and catches both Dante and the rabbit off guard. As Dante recovers from what just happened, he tells the rabbit to give his money and leaves. We then see Vergil having broken the first seal to unlock the tower. At the moment, he believes he needs to destroy 4 seals to break Sparta's seal. He goes over his plan to release the second seal in the tower, as unlike the first seal, it cannot be broken with mere force. Only those who have the key to the demon world can pass. Here it's stated that the key to the demon world is divided into 2. Then we see Vergil wearing an amulet, just like Dante wears. The rabbit says to Vergil, quote, 2 people who were supposed to be one, a key that was once one, because you were born as 2, everything was divided into 2 as well. The same face, the same powers, Sparta's powers, is evenly divided into 2, end quote. Vergil gets offended that the rabbit is stating that he is only half as strong as Sparta. To which the rabbit states, quote, no, what I'm trying to say is that the both of you are needed to break the seal. 2 amulets, 2 keys. If the 2 of you do not gather the path to the demon world, then it will not open. End quote. Vergil cuts down the rabbit, and then we see Dante having a nightmare about his mother where she tells him to run, and no matter what, to keep hiding. This is actually a memory that Dante has, where the demons attack his home when he is a child. In his frustration, he picks up a pool ball and swipes it with the rebellion. Then you see that doing this, Dante cuts through the roof of the studio without physically touching it. Moving on to Code 2, here we see Vergil and Arkham in a very interesting looking structure. Arkham states that this place was inhabited by humans for the last 300 years, but they are not the originators of it. As they continue through, Arkham shows Vergil a very tall statue and claims that they were the masters of this area, and to him they look like angels. Vergil scoffs and explains that these statues are demons. Here, Arkham shows the next seal to the demon world is here. Arkham continues to share more information about the story of Sparta. Here, he shares that 2,000 years ago, the world that Sparta saves was still unstable. With his own hand, Sparta wrought the seal to the path into the demon world, using the power of mighty demons as a binding steel. During one of the many times the demon world descended upon Earth, a black-horned demon god appeared. This being Sparta. He would use an enormous spear for one of his seals, and then bound an undying individual to the spear so that the seal would not be removed. This being the statue before them, with the spear in their foot. With this, Sparta would strike out the names of the mighty demons. Arkham further explains that to demons, a name is truth, more than those forms they take. It is said that the name of a demon is closer to its true substance. Like heirs to a family, they model themselves after the meaning of the name. For Sparta to be capable of doing that, he was a mighty demon of unequaled power. To him, the various demons assembled before him like infants. Moreover, unlike a common demon, Sparta had great intellect too. Vergil listens to all this and notices that the statue is actually watching them. Suddenly, Vergil finds himself in a cemetery filled with skeletons. Vergil is also a child and sees the Yamato on the ground away from him. He quickly retrieves it and is attacked by a swarm of demonic skeletons. Vergil is knocked over and realizes that this is the memory of when his family was attacked. Off in the distance, he can hear his mother screaming, "Dante!" and he can see the smoke of their house. Suddenly, a huge black skeleton with wings appeared and asks Vergil if he still wishes for more fear. Vergil responds with, quote, "What is it that you want me to understand by showing this to me?" End quote. The black skeleton responds, quote, "Repentance, lamination, despair, great doubt, wrath, confusion, all of these are our pleasures." End quote. Vergil is left confused, to where the black skeleton responds that Vergil is an insect and that wouldn't understand their reasons. At this point, Vergil decides to get up and quickly finishes off all the skeletons that were attacking him. As the demon statue is defeated by Vergil, they ask for him to provide them with their names that were lost. Vergil responds that he doesn't know their names and that they should name themselves. The demon then names themselves as Pride, then shares with Vergil once all 7 names are gathered, their desired fear shall reach into the demon world. With this, Vergil and Arkham leave as the seal has been destroyed. The next day, Vergil is talking with Arkham about the seals. Arkham explains that at first there were 4 seals to destroy in total, which would have left 3 more for them to destroy. But after the first seal was broken, there were 7, the sins: pride, envy, gluttony, lust, sloth, greed, and wrath. They were known as Pride. Arkham explains that perhaps that means there are now. It's possible that he may have overlooked something in his research and thinks that there is another meaning for the original 4 seals and the pride they must deal with. Vergil asks where the seals are located. Arkham shares he found them, meaning he found the pride, but he doesn't know where the remaining 3 are. Vergil says he will handle the ones that they know about and tells Arkham to perform his research more thoroughly. Then they talk about Dante, to which Arkham says that he will handle Dante. Arkham shares that he had tried to have Dante cooperate and wasn't successful, meaning he was the one controlling the rabbit demon previously. Here, Vergil shares that he isn't surprised Dante didn't cooperate, as Dante has always been rebellious. Arkham realizes that this is actually opposite of Vergil as well. Next, we see that Lady is trying to help Alice, the demonic daughter that Dante had his job for. She is transformed into a fully adult female and asks Lady to help get her home. Eventually, they go to Dante's place and see the studio empty. At this point, Dante is still out hunting demons. Lady and Alice make their way inside, and then suddenly Alice's eyes turn demonic, and she begins throwing items in the studio telepathically. Alice then continues through the studio, leaving Lady very confused and nervous. While Dante is fighting, he breaks his chain on his amulet and it falls to the ground. And apparently his jacket or pants don't have pockets, so he must hold it. This leaves it vulnerable. Arkham is then seen talking to himself about how much they can trust Vergil, eventually deciding that Vergil can be trusted because Arkham has faith in those who lust for power runs deep. This internal conversation is cut off when Arkham's wife knocks on the door asking if he is still studying in his library. She tells Arkham that Mary is out late and she is worried about her. Just an FYI, Mary is a girl we were talking about earlier that is helping Alice, who eventually goes by the alias Lady. Arkham tells his wife that he will be there in a minute, closing off the closet full of demonic bodies he has performed experiments on. Dante returns home to fix up his chain for his amulet, noticing the picture of his mother has fallen over since he was last in the studio. Next, Dante takes some pool balls and throws them at the wall, which reveals that Alice was hiding behind it. She retreats but notices his amulet before making her retreat. Lady is still in the studio though, but at this point she is hiding in the showers. Dante notices that someone is in the bathroom and goes to hurry them out when the new amulet chain breaks again. Dante stops to pick it up and sees that Alice is back in the studio. This prompts him to turn around and she steals the amulet. This prompts him to go chase her, while Lady is able to escape without ever seeing Dante. Alice is able to make it back to Arkham's home where Vergil is, but Dante is deterred into going into a church where he meets the Mad Hatter, or Arkham, controlling what we see as the Mad Hatter. The two talk and the Mad Hatter states that he can have the amulet back if he does a simple job, to which Dante is forced into a fight with one of the sins that are part of Pride. Dante finds himself in a pit of black with skulls surrounding him on the ground. Dante pushes a skull down to the darkness to see what will happen, and it sends him further down into the seal. At this point, Dante feels his blood boiling and begins to tap into a power he hasn't ever used. Finally, we see the demonic statue, and it is shown that they have no eyes, but they can smell Sparta's scent. They share that they have been there for 2,000 years. They have stood as a seal. The two begin to fight, and Dante finds that he is much faster than normally, and he is able to defeat the demon. As they are dying, they ask Dante to provide their name as Sparta took it from him. The Mad Hatter tells Dante that this is what the job was for was to name the demon before it disappears. Dante is reluctant to do so and asks what happens when he does name them. The Mad Hatter sits there quietly, to which Dante realizes it's a trap and tells the Hatter that he doesn't overlook details like that. Then reminds the Hatter that his job is a devil hunter. Suddenly, Dante begins to transform into normal, to which the Hatter lets Dante know that this power was borrowed, but eventually he will be able to do it himself. We really don't hear anything more specific about what happens when the demons are named, other than the phrase from the Hatter, quote, "The act of naming these demons, the world will change." Is it unbelievable? No, it's very simple. To change the value of everything would be all too easy, end quote. Suddenly the seal breaks and sends Dante flying back. Then we see Vergil there, and he names the demon before it disappears, revealing the demon's name to be Sloth and that their paths will cross again. Vergil then asks the Hatter why the third seal is open. The Hatter shares that he left the second seal to Vergil and asks if there was a problem with Dante opening this one. Vergil doesn't respond verbally, just provides a thumbs up. Dante and Vergil then look at each other for the first time since their family was attacked. The two share some witty jabs at each other, to where Dante shares he thought Vergil was dead, and Vergil states that he didn't reach out to Dante because when they were younger they didn't see eye to eye, so it doesn't make much sense to reach out afterwards now. Dante shares that he apologizes for not greeting Vergil when he was in town, as he has been busy with work, and shares that his specialty is demon extermination and points the rebellion at Vergil. Vergil responds that his job as a demon hunter will be over soon, and that he will raise the tower that Sparta sealed, and he will open the link to the demon world. The two begin to fight, and suddenly Dante's amulet falls out again. Vergil is able to retrieve it, to which Dante screams at Vergil to return it. The two fight a little, and Vergil throws it back at Dante. The Mad Hatter watches and tells Vergil that they need the amulet for the tower, to which Vergil responds that he can retrieve it whenever he chooses. The last that we see is Vergil is walking away while it looks like Dante is following him. It then pans to Arkham, who is impressed with how quickly they were able to destroy 3 of the seals, and that preparations are being made for the coming of the demon world. Sadly, at this point, there was no Code 3 released, so we get to piece together what happens between now and the beginning of Devil May Cry 3, the video game. So we do know both Vergil and Dante survive any future fights that happen between them and the beginning of the game. We know that the time lapse between Code 2 and the beginning of the game is at least 1 year, because Dante states this when seeing Vergil at the beginning of the game. We also know that Vergil is successful in releasing all of the seals, as he is able to erect the tower. At some point, Arkham kills his wife, assumedly with Lady present, as she begins to hunt him in the game and states that this did happen. Lady and Dante never end up meeting until the game. Dante never learns how to control his devil trigger form. And finally, Dante still wields his amulet until the beginning of the game. If you like this type of content, you like Devil May Cry content, feel free to take a look at the channel. We're coming up with Devil May Cry 3 Explained next. Make sure to drop a subscription, as it really helps, and I really appreciate it. And have a good one.